And here we are. We've got the Firecracker department live after show. Oh my gosh. We have not done a lot of these live after shows, but I really, really like them. We do one every week. We bring together some of the core members and talk about our past episodes of the podcast. And sometimes it's like my birthday and we get special guests joining us. So today we have Emily Churchill, who's in Los Angeles. She's an actor, comedian, writer, and the head of the wellness department for Firecracker department. She also produces the after show. We've got AJ Edmonds, who's a performer, producer, editor, writer, and also produces after show and does content creation for Firecracker department and for life. And then we've got Sedna Fiati. Yes. And she is in Toronto. Oh my God, I'm very excited to have you here. A writer, performer, stars in Super Z, Tokens, and the one-woman show Last Dance that is now in development. I am thrilled that you're here to talk about one of my favorite guests that we've had, Lesli Linka Glatter. So let's start. Lesli Linka Glatter, you know from directing all of your favorite shows. I don't know if you saw her resume, but if you name your favorite show, she probably directed it. Like Homeland, like Gilmore Girls, like Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks, come on now. What was something for you that stood out? AJ, you jump in.
Just like every single show anyone's ever enjoyed, you're like, oh, there's Lesli. Oh, okay. One of my favorite things that she said was storytelling is a team sport. And it's so true, right? Like we think, because we create sort of in our own bubbles and we write the pilot, we think about it in our own, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I need people. And I need to be nice to those people. And I need to know those people's names. And I need to address them by their names and care about them. Like, what an incredible leader this woman is.
Yeah, totally. I was struck too by the fact that she thought it was a team sport. I was just like, what a visionary. She also said something, oh yes, I remember her talking about trusting your instincts and how you as an artist like have to continue to do that. And I co-directed for the first time a theater show last year. And then that's one of the biggest things that I learned was just like, you have instincts, trust them. You know what I mean? Follow them, go with them. Something like, don't let anything go by that you're not proud of. If you have an idea for something, put it forward. And she just also was so humble. Like, I was so surprised at how humble she was. She was
she's like your neighbor.
And that's just her. Yeah, she's like everybody's neighbor. She's just somebody that you could approach with an idea. And that thing that you're talking about, Sedna, about instincts, I feel like there should be a class or a workshop about instincts where like you walk into a room, you know something's wrong, you get out of there, you know, or like you want to make a decision, you listen to your gut. Like, where did we stop listening to our gut? I don't know, but I'm with you on that.
I had a therapist tell me it's when they steal your sparkle.
Oh yeah.
It was so expensive, but I loved it. And it was something, we were talking about instincts, and like so much of being an artist is just ignoring perhaps what the logic says and following an instinct. But as you grow up, the world is telling you, like, maybe listen to other people's instincts. Maybe, you know, and it is not a woman's thing to sort of allow other people's instincts to maybe take center stage before you follow your own. And it's great advice, but it's learned behavior, and you have to be so willing to focus on it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that leads into her saying, find your own voice. Because if we trust our instincts, we're able to find our own voice a lot easier and able to share it with the world, which is why we're here and why we're doing art. And she said, unlimited freedom can make you insane. And I feel like that coincides with finding your voice, because if you don't know your voice, what are you supposed to be given to the world in your art, right? And so I feel like that totally resonated. I was like, I remember, you know, in college, I was like, oh, I want to be the ingenue, you know, and they're like, oh, honey. Well, but then I found my voice. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I am. I'm going to share it, you know? And I feel like once we do that, once we embrace our instinct and our voice, we can really soar. That's my taking on it.
I mean, thank goodness, like, I didn't ever want to be an ingenue. I want to be like the Jane Eastwood of things, where like you get to have the longer career. Ingenues are over when they're 12 and they're like 32 going, I can still play 12. You know.
Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, the ingenue, I don't even know what that even means anymore, but like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like in terms of theater school, they're always like, well, you are going to be Juliet or whatever. And you're just kind of like, well, what happens when Juliet grows up and you're not like a cute 20-year-old anymore?
Well,
you
that's
actually have to pivot.
Juliet didn't grow up.
It's true.
Oh,
She did.
Okay. Well, oops.
But the person,
Spoiler alert. Oh no. Have you read the play? Oh no.
Sorry. So sorry.
I was also really struck by the fact that she started off in contemporary dance. Like, wild.
Right?
To me. She just was like, yes, I was going to be a choreographer, and then this trip to Japan changed my life, and and I decided to take a completely different course. And she also still views directing, especially action, through a lens of this is still choreography in a way, not in a way, it totally is. I love that about her. She was like, and she still loves dance, but like she's like, I'm chosen to be a director. So I really resonated with that because like I'm such a theater person. Like I go back and forth between theater and film, and I'm always like, what am I doing? But each informs the other.
Yep.
So cool.
I have a question for you folks though. Like, the discussion of your voice and finding your voice. Like, do you remember a moment in your careers when you're like, oh, that's what my voice is? Like, I feel like mine comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
It usually goes at family dinners because that's my family. And then it usually comes back when I'm in places like this where I'm like, listened to. What about you? What about your journey of your voice?
I had a moment, a really tough time in theater school, and honestly, they were like, we're gonna kick you out. They didn't, but they were thinking about it, and they were very close. And then I had to just like, honestly, that summer, the most boho thing, I just like picked up the artist's way and was just like, I need to come back to who I wanted to be. You know what I mean? And I remember that and those moments, like really refinding, not exactly my voice, but that level of trusting my instincts, like in terms of acting, like picking up a script and being like, what is the first thing you feel that's actually right? Like you should actually just go with that. Try it and see where it goes. At that point, I was just feeling like I didn't trust myself at all. I didn't know like if that was any good, whether I should do this or not. And I was just like, actually, I should do this. And I need to trust my instincts. I need to trust my voice. I mean, with writing and creation, it's really difficult because you're like, how is this going to land? Like, I feel like the creative process is just so filled with so much doubt, but I think you just have to, I appreciate about Lesli, like her following curiosity, being like, where is that going to go? Like, instead of feeling like I suck, like all those voices, it can also just be like a question of like, let me follow this impulse and see where it leads me. So I feel like that always helps me in terms of like doubting my voice or like doubting my instincts.
I have a question that so and Lesli talked a lot. I don't know if you heard the part where I don't know if you listened to the whole thing or maybe just like throw yourself in the middle of the episode, but like that whole mentorship program that she does, which I just love so much, where she not only has somebody shadow, but then they also come in and they get an episode of their own. Isn't that incredible? Have you ever done any kind of shadowing?
I haven't, but I would.
And no, I haven't either, but I'd love it.
I mean, I've followed people. So.
No, that's different. That's not what I mean. I just think like there's a level of responsibility that she has towards the next generation that I really admire, and I'm inspired by. I don't know if you feel like that kind of weight and responsibility. Sedna, you nodded.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel it, you know what, especially in terms of my activism, it's really the next generation that keeps me going. Not that I think I'm done for myself, but I'm just like, I just directed some children at Children's Peace Camp over Zoom, which whole other story loves. But something that keeps me going is some of those children is just like, they were so talented and full of life and ideas. And I'm like, what industry am I handing over to them? Like I don't want them to experience the things I've experienced. I don't want them to do that. I want them to step in and be fully embraced for who they are. And right now we're not there. So that keeps me going. I think about the literal children ready, to take the reins. And mentorship has been so important to me in different ways. And I'm seeking it out. I'm like, also trying to do it as well because it's so important. Like because things are not where I want them to be. And I think that it's really important, this mentorship piece, especially like women, especially women of color, you know, LGBTQ folks, really making sure, because I guess I feel too on some level, like, I don't want to be the only one as well. Like, I don't want to be the only one here. Like, whatever privileges have gotten me to this space, I'm just kind of like, that was sort of happenstance, and it shouldn't be the same for everybody else. You know, everyone should have a fairer time of it. Like, how can I like redistribute some of the things that I've been given in a more equitable way?
We need to have a vision boarding session, Sadhna, because I think about this all the time, specifically about the Canadian industry, because we are so different from the US, where there is just more opportunity. It's a bigger country. It's a larger industry. It is exceptionally competitive, but there's a little bit more access. Whereas here, because our system is built on what I consider to be kind of an allowance system, like every year the government's like, here, artists, here's your allowance for the year, like go make something, but we never have the like.
Never thought of it that way. That's hilarious, but yeah, and true.
But you know, and so we never have that like, here, I got it last year, let me take you and show you how I did it. And I think about that all the time, because we're so friggin' talented up here, but we have no trajectory for each other. You know, like Women in Film and Television does a great mentorship program, but there are limitations of it because there just isn't as much for us to do. And like, I've been a mentor, I've been mentored. It's such an incredible opportunity to just be silent in a space with people you otherwise would never meet. And we just don't have enough of that, especially for minorities and people with diverse voices. It's such a journey. So girl, we're gonna calendar a vision boarding session. I already got my cutouts.
For sure. Like, and what's so great about Lesli is that she's been doing it for a while now too. You know, this sort of paying it forward. And it can look so many different ways. I've been like surprised by how paying it forward, mentorship, like how all those things can look. Like, for instance, there was this, I'm sure you all heard about it, but there recently, some of the producers who received COVID-19 funding, like they took a piece of it and they donated it, which is going to be, you know, redistributed from BIPOC TV, from the Racial Equity Media Coalition, and also from the Indigenous Screen Office. And so I never even thought about that before. It's like, folks can just look at their budgets and be like, I can part with a few $1,000s, you know what I mean? And I'm going to give this now. And now this is giving money to other folks who don't have access to that same funding, you know? There's actually so many radical and creative and beautiful, juicy ways for us to look at mentorship, or just to even like a redistribution of resources that's outside of what we're doing now, and even better than what we're doing now. Which isn't, as you said.
No,
a great
like
sort of
even
segue.
saying that kind of thing out loud is useful. Go ahead.
One thing that Lesli also said was that it's a process.
It is
Our journey. It's just like a constant process. You know, like you don't know until you've done it.
That makes sense to Emily, doesn't it? The journey of it all.
Well, we're all on a journey. I mean, hello. Yeah, we're all on a journey. And I think, you know, I'll speak for Hollywood since I'm here in LA. You may think there's more access and more jobs, but unless you are, you know, the size 2 blondie, you have a bigger journey. Because I've been on it. And I think that there needs to be more women in general, all colors, shapes, sizes, voices, in Hollywood for sure, because we have the most reach, in a sense, globally. And if we can uplift all of us, I think that's going to help in Toronto, in, you know, Bollywood, and everywhere. So I think hopefully if we all put our noggins together and uplift the journey, we can really, you know, do some awesome things together, I think.
Stay tuned.
I think it's sort of like
Uplift the Journey 2020.
I know. Yes. I think it's like getting a present. It's like getting a box of chocolates and making sure that everybody gets some of the chocolates, so that you're not just like rah, rah, rah. Like, I think, you know, like Molly McGlynn did that. She got a grant from TIFF and she was like, I'm going to push that on. Like, I think we can all do, I mean,
Yeah.
we're all good at doing with less as far as like creating things go. You know, I created a 10-part web series for like $5,000. I could probably do it for less. I wouldn't tell the producer that. But yeah, so if I got 10,000, why not pass it on to somebody else? And then you've got two for the price of one. I think that's a great reminder.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts about Lesli? I don't want to stop this conversation, but I know AJ is going to edit, and I want to not give her a huge journey ahead of her. Any final thoughts about Lesli Linka Glatter's episode? If you haven't heard it, go over to our podcast, firecrackerdepartment.com, and catch up. It's really, she's got some words of wisdom. Any final thoughts?
The one thing I have to say, it's a personal story, but it'll take the second. On finding your voice, you don't realize how your voice is being seen. And I'm going to say this, but please just take it and then let it, this is not me fluting my horn or whatever. But I do a lot of commercials, okay? And I went to a high school in Springfield, Illinois. It's the center of the country. Get an idea. You got it. And so one of my friends was working outside of Chicago, and he's an EMT, and this lady was having a heart attack. And my commercial came on. No kidding, my commercial. And the lady's like, oh my God, I love that redhead. And yes, am I kidding? And the guy that was my guy I went to high school with, he's like, oh, I know her. We went to high school together. And I'm not saying that I helped her, but I'm just saying that it took her mind off of what was happening, and she was able to calm her body down, which is what he was trying to get to happen. And so you never know what your face, your voice, or whatever is going to hit somebody in a positive way. So I really think if we can all embrace our voices, you never know where it's going to lead. That's my take.
You saved somebody's life, Emily.
Well,
you saved
I mean, but so yeah, I just thought that was cool.
Any other final thoughts, AJ? Sedna?
Yeah, I think all of us are very good at this, so Lesli would be proud. Never take yourself too seriously.
Yes.
Right.
That's true.
Nice one. Sedna?
Snaps.
Yeah, again, follow your curiosity. And I'm also just struck by, you know how there's that thing where you listen to someone amazing and they're actually amazing as you think they are? Like her credits actually matched up to a person of great character, joy, and depth, and you're just like, I aspire to be that, you know, as opposed to sometimes we've heard about some of the people we really admire, people who have like decades-long careers, and they've really disappointed us, and she did quite the opposite. So you're just like, what other women's voices are we missing, you know?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Other
That's one of the things
like in the world that we haven't heard from.
Or not even, like, one of the things I love about what we're doing with Firecracker Department is that we're doing the Lesli Linka Glatter, but we're also doing like the Jerica Long, who's a fantastic creator, but nobody knows about her in the same way. So I think it's about like lifting each other as we go. And I love to follow the curiosity. Speaking of following, how do we follow you, Segue Queen? How do we follow you? What are you doing that we can come and support? Emily, what's going on in your world?
Well, this Sunday, we're having Meditation Sunday at noon Pacific Standard Time. So come to us live. I'll be there.
And we're on Facebook. That's where they go and meditate with you, right?
Facebook and Instagram. Yes. It'll be live.
Thanks. What about you, AJ?
I'm making pitch decks. Just
Ooh.
turning over pitch decks for people. You need a pitch deck?
You need a pitch deck.
I'm your gal.
She's said, no, what's coming up for you?
So Super Z, a short that I'm starring in, is going to be screening at the Caribbean Tales Film Festival, which is online this year. It's going to be screening on September 17th. So check that out. And it's also screening at Inside Out, but I forget the date. But it's sometime in October. And then,
we'll do a fact check.
We'll do a fact check. Yeah, it's in October. I just don't remember the date. And then as well, you can catch me and a bunch of other beautiful people on Tokens, the web series. You can go to tokensoncall.com and you can watch the whole series there. It's real cool. And season 2 is going to happen someday. So it's like in the works. Yeah.
Oh man, I am such a fan of you. I'm so happy that you joined us as a guest. We want you back all the time. What a delightful conversation that was. And big thanks to Sydney Nielsen, who's been following us over, and she's our social media gal. She also produces and edits our podcast, and she's just an amazing person. And Jen Gardner and some other folks have been watching along in the Facebook world. So hi to you folks too. And when's the next time we do this live, Emily?
That would be the next first Thursday in October. Tentatively.
So mark it in your calendar.
DVD. Oh, you know what? And it's a full moon, y'all.
Not again.
Yes, again.
Emotionally,
Yes,
I can't
again.
We've all been howling at the moon in the past couple of days. It's been intense. Thank you so much. Don't forget, Firecracker lovers, we've got our Firecracker Department TIFF party happening online. September 13th. That's what we've been working on.
Yeah,
it's going to be like no other online party you've ever been to. We're going to do a little red carpet that's live, and you can see the folks coming in and out of the red carpet. And then we're going to do some breakout rooms that are going to be like a party. So, you know, when you find your little pod at a party and it's next to the coat check, well, that's going to be like a breakout room where you can actually get to know people and exchange emails and creative ideas and hopefully work together on things. So,
except this time you bring your own coat check.
BYOCT.
BYOCT.
Yeah. But we're sponsored by Creemore Beer, and they're going to teach us how to make beer cocktails. So we'll tell you what ingredients to have ready, and we'll all be having some nice cocktails. So go over to firecrackerdepartment.com for more information about that and to register. And, you know, Firecracker DEPT is where you'll find us on Twitter and Instagram, and join us for the ride. We'd love to have you there. The table is set, and there's always room for one more chair for you. So come and join us. Sedna, mwah, I love having you here. Come back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All are delightful.
Oh, yay.
What a treat. I don't want to say goodbye, but I know Zoom will kick me off at some point. Bye, everybody.
No. Bye.
Thank you so much.